Francis Fukuyama is the author of an article, Genetic Engineering. In this article, Fukuyama is ultimately concerned with how genetic engineering will affect human nature. Human nature is how human beings interact with each other and our environment as a whole. It is responsible for our interpretations of justice, morality, what we consider to be right, what we consider to be wrong, and pretty much everything that has anything to do with people. This is like our instincts, if you will, like how it's been encoded in us to act. Genetic engineering is the manipulation of the genetic makeup of an organism in order to create a better version of the same organism. Genetics up to this point have been selected largely by chance. One person will mate with another person, half the mother's DNA goes to the child, and half the father's DNA goes to the child. There's been no interaction between science and the selection of the DNA of children. In order to understand how these two interact with each other, Fukuyama explains where science is now and what stands in their way for the ultimate goal of genetic engineering. Currently, the science community is using genetic manipulation to improve the DNA of crops and introducing genes that reduce the need for pesticides and the need for ideal growing conditions. For example, corn right now has been able to import a specific gene that makes them resistant to the common bugs that tend to eat corn. And it's also made them more resistant to natural environment and made them easier to grow and produce larger yields. These advancements are trying to be related to humans, but the DNA of a human being is many, many times more complex than that of corn. Due to the Genome Project, people have created a blueprint of the human DNA, but as it is written in a completely different language. We know what strands of DNA look like, what DNA produces what proteins. We don't know how all these proteins come together to create what we see today as a human being. What we have been able to figure out is that many of the characteristics that we see are all interconnected with one another. If we were able to go into the DNA of a person and manipulate one gene that is considered undesirable, we don't know what the possible effects on all the other genes that are not necessarily undesirable or desirable would happen. For instance, people with sickle cell anemia. We can go in and fix the gene that produces the odd-shaped red blood cells, but we don't know how it would affect the child's skin color, hair color, how they interact with people, what they think, just the person as a whole. Our present human nature is to be progressive. We're always looking forward to be better and stronger, faster, be the best at anything we attempt to do. No one wants to be mediocre in life, but honestly, someone has to fill those roles. The reason behind the roadblocks to genetic engineering is we must protect ourselves from ourselves. No doubt the intentions behind the advancements would be the best, but in the wrong hands, these techniques can end catastrophically for all of mankind. Pretty much if these techniques were put in the hands of someone such as Adolf Hitler or someone in that type of thinking, mankind can come to an end as we know it. A great argument for this is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For millions and millions of years, people, organisms, everything has been evolving, becoming better and better. People have evolved from simple amoebas in the ocean as due to natural selection. Natural selection is a process where nature plays the role that people are trying to play. There's no need for a human being to be able to make a super person. There's no need for a human being to try to manipulate things that are going along perfectly fine without any manipulation. This is playing the role of God, and it's seen as highly immoral. It's in our nature, obviously, to want to protect everyone and to make everyone the ideal person, to cure cancer and to reduce suffering and to end world hunger. But is it really our place for these things to happen? God has, whether you believe in a God or not, nature has been responsible for the advancements that we know of today. Things are constantly getting better and better, and the only thing that can stop this would be the genetic engineering that we have been talking about. These genetic engineering can lead to some unknown large-scale decline in advancement of everything. People right now are the top of the food chain, the ultimate on this planet. And if someone was to alter the DNA of a person and change how they think of things and how they interact with each other and our society, the whole world can come to an end. I know you're saying this is a slippery slope argument, and you're going to the end of the world, but it is quite possible to happen because of this one simple change. Regardless, genetic engineering is wrong. It should not be gone into any further, and eventually competition will separate the cream of the crop from the rotten, from the undesirable substance at the bottom of the barrel. Nature has done this job well, and there's no need for us to interfere.